Welcome to Real Life with Jennie, 3rd anniversary podcast edition. Woohoo! Grab your favorite drink, get a snack, and we'll get started. Today I am celebrating with salted caramel and chocolate cocoa mix. I know, could life get a whole lot better? And because it's my 3rd anniversary, I have saved some thin mint cookies just for this occasion. I know we're living large, so let's get real. I cannot believe that I am currently recording my 3rd year anniversary. I have been doing this for 3 years and you have still been listening. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. I am beyond staggered that God is still giving me things to say and that I'm coming up with. He's teaching me new things every day. I have loved this journey. It has been so fun. In fact, I joke with my husband the other day that I'm like, I think I need to be done. Isn't 3 years long enough? And honestly, I feel like God's got some fun things in store. One of the things I really feel like God is asking me to do, and I haven't quite figured out the logistics. I do have one guest that I'm going to ask to come on. I've already asked and they said yes. I just have to figure out how to do it, is I want to have real life stories from people that are everyday people and have them come on and just kind of share what God's teaching them. And so I'm really excited about adding that to this podcast. I don't know when it's going to start happening. I've been dreaming about it since about December, so quite a few months at this point. But I'm really excited about hearing what God's doing in other people's lives too. So it may be real life with and fill in the blank. We'll see. So I'm really excited about that. But I want to come on and besides thank you and celebrate and yoo-hoo, I really want to talk a little bit about what God is doing in my own life in some real sincere ways. So I've been sharing the ups and downs of Jennie's world for 3 years. And it has been a lot of downs and a lot of ups, like all of us kind of walk through together, right? We have celebrated good things and bad things. And so right now I'm currently in the midst of a lot of kind of chaos. So I am heading overseas to Japan with my sister and my daughter, and that is really exciting. In fact, when this podcast comes out, I will be packing my bags. Like, we are ready to go. It has been something that we have had for 14 years in the process, and I kind of tagged on at the last minute. My sister lived in Japan for several years and said when she came back when my daughter was 2 that I want to take her to Japan. And I was like, sure. And she's like, for 16. And I was like, okay, that sounds really far away. And all of a sudden now I have a 16-year-old and I decided to take along on their trip. Maybe because I'm a mama bear and I was like, I don't think these two are going to get along very well. And maybe because I didn't want to miss out on the adventure either. So I am tagging along on that trip. But part of that for me is I'm not feeling great yet. I had my thyroid removed back in March and I've shared a little bit about it, but I am still really struggling. First of all, who knew how important a thyroid was? Like, you hear how important they are and then you don't have one and you go, wow, they are actually, they run your whole body. And so I have really been down, like physically down for the count, which hasn't been something I've really been comfortable with. Even when I had kidney stones, I felt like I was a little bit tougher than I am with this whole losing my thyroid. It has been a really slow healing process. It has been, the doctor still calls me on a weekly basis to check in and see how I'm doing. And that is incredible to me. I just found an amazing surgeon and she's just been really great and really supportive. But she's like, wow, this is taking a long time. There's still been some side effects and some crazy things going on. So if you would keep me in your prayers, I'd really appreciate it as we're kind of stepping into a new journey for our family as we head into summer. Summer is such a busy time for everyone. Like we all jam pack. It's kind of like December, but for 3 months. We jam everything into a really short period of time. We have a lot of traveling ahead of us. We have a lot of, for what we do for our ministry. We do not have a vacation other than my vacation to Japan, which, how do you say other than? Poor Kevin does not have a vacation planned, which I think we need to get on the books. Anyway, and so we have a lot of ministry travel going on in the next couple months. And so it's kind of exciting. But I don't want to lose my focus, right? I really feel like sometimes in life, you have one thing that's kind of going and you just kind of coast. And I feel like this podcast has been a place for me that I have to take a weekly thought and sit down and go, Lord, what are you doing in my life? And it's been so good for me. Even if no one was listening to this, which I really appreciate that you are, it has been such a good thing for me. And so I really kind of wanted to come on for my anniversary and say, not necessarily that you need to start a podcast, although go for it if you want to. You know, a lot of people are like, I want to write a book, I want to do a podcast, like all those pieces. And really logistically, they're just not going to happen. And that's okay. But we can take a set time in your week and really set it aside to look at what God's doing in your life. And that's what I have had to do. Because on a weekly basis, I need to come up with what's going on in my life. I have to actually look around and say, have I learned anything this week? What kind of misadventures have we had? What ups and downs? And what things do I feel like I should share? What things shouldn't I share? I've just kind of had to go through every single week and have kind of a heart-to-heart with myself and with God. And it has been so powerful in my own life. It has been a way to really keep track of how I'm doing. Because I could go before this months without even checking in and saying, how am I doing? Am I learning anything? Am I growing? Have I just coasted? You know how you can kind of get, and maybe this is just me, I hope it's just me, but I can get to the end of the day and go, wait, what did I do today? I don't know that I did anything productive. Did I make dinner? That you kind of get a little like, you just coast. And this podcast has made me stop every week and say, what happened in the last week? What's been going on? What's God been teaching me? What am I learning in my Bible? What am I learning as I'm praying? What am I learning just in everyday life? What are friends speaking into my life? What have I learned when I'm out on the road? What's going on? And one of the things that I think we just miss as Christians is that quiet time. Now, they call it quiet time and they're like, it's prayer and reading your Bible, which, yes, absolutely it is. But there is a quieting of your heart and your mind and just all of everything, and just taking a moment and seeing where you are and taking a pulse on this. I did a little podcast, a little bit on this before. But I really feel like with the growth that I've had in the last 3 years, like I cannot even believe where I'm at. Like we've hit every state in the United States. We are in over 65 countries around the world. We have I just so appreciate you. We have great people on Facebook. We have great people on Instagram. We have great followers of Real Life with Jennie. And it has nothing to do with this success. Because the success for me is really what God's doing in my own personal life. And how he took me from a very broken, I was just in a hard place. And even though it wasn't even that I lost my job and that COVID hit and all those pieces, I was broken before that. I was lost. I knew I had a purpose for God. I knew that he had called me to do something bigger than what I was doing, but I wasn't willing to go there. I was like, I'll wait. It's okay. I'll do it when Sam graduates. I remember I was like, I'll do it when Sam gets into elementary school. And then I was like, oh, I'll wait till middle school. And then I was like, oh, I'll wait till high school. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I can really wait till she's like I'm an empty nester. And that was not God's plan, right? But I was a very broken person. I was so sad and so just caught up in all the stresses of the world and all the stresses of everyone else around me that my hair was falling out. I was at the heaviest I'd ever been. I was miserable, just absolutely miserable. And God, in the last 3 years, has brought my hair back in a way that it's still the crazy hair that it was before, but I have a little bit more of it. I'm at a better weight, not the weight I'd love to be at, but I'm at a better weight. And I am happy. And I can't just say that like, oh, you have good days, you have bad days. And I do. I have good and bad days. And there are days that I cry, and there are days that I'm very like, oh, bother, what am I doing with my life? A little Eeyore-ish. But I'm really so grateful because God has allowed me to live out a life that I am taking every week and going, wow, what have you taught me this week? And I was never able to do that before. I was never able to take a moment for myself. And I have learned over the last 3 years of everything else on how to slow down. And that is crazy to me because really our life is not any slower. In fact, it's a little crazier. Before I'd work 40 hours or 30 hours or whatever, 60 hours, whatever I was working, it mattered on the week. And my husband would be gone every weekend. And I'm like, yeah, we were living a crazy life with a daughter who's super active. And now we have an extremely active daughter. And we're on the road almost 3 or 4 times a month, and just out there doing what God called us to do. Life is busier now than it was before. I can't even believe how much busier it is, but I have learned in the last 3 years to quiet myself before the Lord and quiet myself just before myself. And that sounds really weird, but I take moments throughout the day now that I've never taken before, that all of my 43 years before that, I just ran. And I just put the pedal to the metal and went the entire time. I actually went to a doctor once. And she was like, you have to learn how to take your foot off the gas. You have to learn. And I was like, I don't even understand what you're talking about. Like, that makes no sense to me. Why would you take your foot off the gas? You go nowhere. And she was like, no, actually, you're more productive. If you take your foot off the gas and let your car rest for a minute and then step it back on, you actually can make up more time that way because you have more energy to go faster. And it is so true. So you're going to see me on Facebook quite often putting up diamond dots and puzzles, and I'm listening to books, and I'm taking walks, and I'm spending time with my girlfriends. Whether it's one girlfriend at a time was normally how I do it. And for me, that's refreshing. For me, I never took that time before. Like, I could go 6 months without seeing a girlfriend because I don't have time for that. And now I've really made sure that they are a priority to me because that is what fills me. Spending time with my husband, and we've actually implemented something this summer called Fridays. I know, it's really clever, isn't it? It's not. But it's pizza and movie night as a family. So we watch a movie and we have a pizza, whether it's from somewhere else, I've made it, it's a frozen pizza, no judgment, whatever we do. We're just taking, and we only watched a half a movie last time. Because we were all like, I don't know, we can sit here for 3 hours. We took an hour and a half. That's all we took. We ordered a pizza from a place I'd never had a pizza from before. I used their coupon. It was great. We sat down, we watched half a movie, and then we all kind of went our separate ways. But we took some time just to be together. And so my request for my 3rd anniversary is that you take a break. Woo! Take a tea break, take a coffee break, take a hot cocoa break, whatever you need to do, take a break and see where you're at. Kind of evaluate, like, am I happy? Am I doing okay? Am I, question, right? Fill it in. I ask you to take a break and kind of just check in and figure out, like, am I really as upset as I think I am? Then I really need to acknowledge and figure out how to creatively move past whatever or work through my emotions. Because we just shove them to the side and we say they're not important. We need to get things done. We need to keep moving. We need to get things done. And because of my podcast, I have had to stop every week and go, what are my real emotions this week? How am I really feeling? Like, am I really angry? Or am I really depressed? Am I really, like, all these different things I've just had to really work through and go, what am I really doing? And it's not until you stop that you can actually deal with that. I can't deal with my anger unless I stop and I acknowledge the anger and I see where it comes from and I work through it, right? Otherwise, it just eats at me and stays. So I have learned to take time and work through those emotions. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not fun. There's hurt and there's pain, and it's not fun to sometimes, like, look at them, but you have to give them to the Lord and actually acknowledge that they exist to make them move on to a new place. So that's my encouragement. Keep on listening. If you would, go on and rate this podcast. I very rarely ask you to do that, but rate the podcast. Say, hey, I love Jennie. I don't know, whatever you want to say. If you want to give a bad review, just write me personally. No, I'm kidding. You can give me a bad review. That's fine. I can cry later. It's okay. But you can find me at Real Life with Jennie on Instagram, Facebook, and on Be Real. You can also find me at christconnection.cc/Jen. I am so grateful for you. I hope you can hear that, and that when you talk to me and you send me emails and you send me text messages and you connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and Be Real, that you know I am here for you. My heart is to pray for you. I quite often pray for my Real Life with Jennie group, and just go through and pray for people. I am so humbled that you listen and that you are here. But I have to tell you, this podcast has probably been better for me than it has been for you. And so I'm very grateful. And here's to one more year. We'll see how it goes. Have a wonderful week.